How's it going, everyone? I'm finally getting around to making this video, which I've been meaning to do for a long time now, and that is ranking my top 10 Disney animated classic films. Now, before we get started, I just want to let you guys know and go over all of the different films that are up for judgment here because, um, a lot of people kind of get confused. So no, there's not Pixar included in this. That's a whole nother thing. These are the 52 Disney animated classic films. So the first era is kind of the Walt Disney original era, and those were 5 movies, which included Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, and Bambi. And then was the package film era, which included Saludos Amigos, The Three Caballeros, Make Mine Music, Fun and Fancy Free, Melody Time, and The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Then we have what I call the Golden Age era, and that is Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Lady and the Tramp, Sleeping Beauty, 101 Dalmatians, Sword in the Stone, and The Jungle Book. And then we have what I call the in-between era, and that's kind of Disney's worst stretch of movies in my opinion, and that's The Aristocats, Robin Hood, Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, The Rescuers, Fox and the Hound, Black Cauldron, Great Mouse Detective, and ending in Oliver and Company. And then, of course, you have the Disney Renaissance, which was The Little Mermaid, Rescuers Down Under, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, Pocahontas, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Mulan, and Tarzan. And then you have the era of mediocrity, as I say. Basically, the worst. Actually, probably not as bad as that '80s stretch, but it's not far from that. And that includes Fantasia 2000, Dinosaur, The Emperor's New Groove, Atlantis: The Lost Empire, Lilo and Stitch, Treasure Planet, Brother Bear, and it ends with what Disney said would be their last hand-drawn animated film, Home on the Range. Um, that wasn't their last hand-drawn film, but that's the end of that era, and then we get into the CGI modern era, which is Chicken Little, Meet the Robinsons, Bolt, The Princess and the Frog, Tangled, Winnie the Pooh, and Wreck-It Ralph, and of course later this year will be Frozen, but that one is not out yet, so I can't judge it. And also, to be fair, I want to just quickly tell you guys the movies that I haven't seen on this list. To be honest with you, I don't think any of these would have a chance to make it into my top 10, but the movies I haven't seen are Saludos Amigos, The Three Caballeros, Fun and Fancy Free, Melody Time, Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and The Black Cauldron. Those are the only ones I haven't seen. So other than that, all those movies I mentioned, I have seen, and here is my top 10. Um, to start out, though, I just want to say, I know basically everyone watching this is going to disagree with me because what most people say is their favorite Disney movie, I really don't care for that much, so you won't see it in this list. And before we start, first of all, obviously I am a male, so you're not going to see too many princess movies in here because typically boys don't like those ones as much as they do others. And also, I personally tend to like the older Disney movies more, so I think you'll see that reflecting in this top 10. So anyway, let's get started. I don't want this video to be too long. So at number 10, we're going to start at 10, of course, and work our way down. This is one of the newer films on my list, and it's probably the most underrated Disney movie, and that is Brother Bear. I think this movie is, like I said, completely underrated, as the story is it's brilliant, and it's very sad. The music is very good. It's not great, but On My Way by Phil Collins is one of my favorite Disney songs, and that's in this movie. So, and I love the two moose. I forget their names. And of course, Coda and Kenai are just a great on-screen duo. And there is a totem of this image at California Adventure in California. So I love this movie, and I always get my picture next to that totem because it's great to see such a small recognized Disney movie make its way into a theme park. And if you have not seen Brother Bear, give it a watch. It comes in at number 10 on my list. Okay, at number 9 is one of Walt Disney's, I think it was one of his personal favorite films, um, and it's one of mine too, and that is Lady and the Tramp. This movie was being made when Walt was building Disneyland, so in 50, like in 54, 53, and it's just a great story between these two dogs that are so opposite, and that scene right there is one of the most famous in film history. I just love all the animals in this movie. I love the characters, and the ending is your classic Disney ending. Just a great movie coming in at number 9. Alright, now number 8, I actually don't own. It's the only movie that I don't have to show you guys, and that is Aladdin. Aladdin is my favorite Renaissance film. You know, I love that movie. I love the characters. The genie's hilarious, and of course, it has such brilliant music. So, you know, Aladdin would come in at number 8. I just don't have it on DVD or Blu-ray because the Blu-ray's not out here in America. And when I started collecting Disney DVDs, the DVD was out of print and really expensive, so that's why I don't have it. So now at number 7, we have the newest film on my list, and that is The Princess and the Frog. And what a masterpiece this movie is. It's really sad. I will say that it's a tearjerker, but it is just a great Disney movie and very underrated. And I love the movie so much. Tiana is one of my favorite Disney princesses, and Louis, this alligator up here, he's great. He's one of my favorite, and Ray, the firefly. Those are two of my favorite Disney sidekicks, and this movie just has everything a good Disney movie should have. You know, the good villain in Dr. Facilier, and the good Disney sidekicks, and some pretty good music too. The music isn't excellent, but it is very good. I love Almost There, which is at the near the beginning, and the one that Dr. Facilier sings to Prince Naveen and the old guy he's with. I got friends on the other side. That's what it is. I love that song. Okay, so number 6, I think. Wait. Yeah, number 6 is one of Walt Disney's all-time classics, and that is Bambi. Obviously, this movie is pretty sad when, spoiler alert, when Bambi's mom dies. But it's really just a great story. But mainly why I love this movie and why the movie was made was for the beautiful artwork shown in the film. There are less than 1,000 words spoken in this movie. Just think about that. Most movies today speak 1,000 words in like the first 10 minutes. There are less than 1,000 words spoken in this film, and that's because the movie relies so heavily on its gorgeous artwork. I highly recommend you guys watch the bonus features on this Blu-ray, because there's this fascinating documentary of the animation put into the film, and I think Walt Disney, I haven't seen that documentary since I got this in 2011, but I believe Walt Disney hired an Asian artist from Japan, I think it was, to influence in a Japanese artwork style. And you can tell in the backgrounds how amazing that is. And it really is just incredible artwork. And that's because that new animator, I forgot his name, but he was brought in just to do the background and watercolor, and he just did it perfectly. And please watch the documentary on the artwork, because it is, I think it's just the making of, it is amazing, and that's why I love this movie. Not to mention, Flower is one of my all-time favorite Disney characters. So is Bambi. Thumper is a little annoying at times, but yeah, the scene where Flower is introduced is my favorite in the movie. Okay, coming in at numero 5 is another one from that same era, and that is Dumbo. Dumbo is just such a classic. You know, it's only like 60 minutes long. It's only like an hour long, but that's all it needs to be. The point was portrayed. Um, it's just the great story of Dumbo the Flying Elephant, and it also is home to the saddest moment in Disney movie history, in my opinion, and that is when Dumbo's mom is in the cage and she puts her trunk out and she's swinging him. It's just so sad. But this movie is just so great, and again, just one of Walt Disney's all-time classic movies. Okay, coming in at number 4 is one of Walt Disney's least favorite movies that he made. It might be his least favorite, but I've loved this movie ever since I was a tiny kid. It used to be my favorite. Now it's number 4. And that, of course, is Alice in Wonderland. The characters in this movie are what make it, The Cheshire Cat, Mad Hatter, March Hare, White Rabbit, the Caterpillar, the Queen of Hearts, all these great characters, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and the Dodo Bird. It just is incredible, and this movie is just so amazing. The music is just brilliant as well. There's not one bad song in this whole movie. So that's why this movie is so high on my list. Not because of the story, but because of the music, because of the characters, and just that classic old Disney feel from the 50s. It just captures that so perfectly, and that's why I love this movie so much. Alright, number 3 on my list. It's hard to put this at number 3 because I just love this movie so much. These next 3 that I have here just honestly are my 3 favorite movies of all time. Alice in Wonderland, I don't have the same connection to as I do these 3, because these 3 movies I just grew up with, and I love them so much, and they're like honestly part of my family, basically. And so number 3 is Pinocchio. What a brilliant, brilliant film this is. I've seen the movie so many times, probably too many times, but it never gets old. Just seeing Pinocchio on the big screen, or just on my big screen, over and over again never gets old, and on Blu-ray no less. Everything about this movie is perfect to me. Like, in all the movies I just mentioned, I would change something here and there about them. I would add something or take away something, but in these next 3, including this one, I would not touch it. It was done just perfectly. And, the music, great. The story, great. The characters, wonderful. The one thing about this movie that makes me mad, and it's nothing to do with the movie, it's actually to do with Disney, is they released a list of the Disney villains, and from Pinocchio, they put on that the villains were Stromboli, and Honest John, and Giddy. But they left Coachman off, and Coachman, he's not on here, but Coachman is one of the best Disney villains of all time. I mean, he's the one that turns the kids into donkeys at Pleasure Island. So I don't know how you could leave him off the villains list. But anyway, Pinocchio is just one of the all-time greats. The second Disney movie ever made. Alright, coming in at number 2 is just probably the most magical Disney movie ever made. I think that's pretty hard to disagree with. And that is Peter Pan. Peter Pan is just so brilliant. Once again, everything, the characters, music, and story, I just love it. Of course, Tinkerbell is probably the most recognizable Disney character in the world, behind Mickey Mouse, probably. And it's a shame what they've done to Tinkerbell, by the way. I cannot stand it, and all these stupid fairy movies, why? Like, why would you do that to Tinkerbell? The brilliance of the character is the fact that she's silent and she speaks with facial, her facial gestures and whatnot, and her body language. That's how Tinkerbell communicates. And so now, in these stupid CGI movies, they're making her talk. And I just cannot get over how much I hate that. And yes, I have written a letter to Disney about that. Not that it's going to do anything, but it just got old because they just keep making those movies, and it just completely defies the character that Walt Disney created. So I can't believe they would do that to such a beloved Disney character. Um, and they've also done something similar to Captain Hook and Smee in some like Disney Junior show or something. I don't know, but you know, Captain Hook is my favorite Disney villain, and this movie is just so massively brilliant, and that's why it's number 2 on my list. And number 1 is, of course, Home on the Range. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, that was a horrible joke. This is the worst Disney movie ever made. No, number 1 is, of course, the one that started it all, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And right now, I know every one of you is saying, what? No Lion King? No Lion King? That's right. I'm going to have to make a separate video on why I don't like that movie very much. But let's focus on this right now. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is my favorite film ever made. I'm kind of a little obsessed with it, to be honest with you. It just never gets old. It never does. I've seen the movie probably over 100 times, and it never gets old, and it never will get old. I've been on Snow White's Scary Adventures at Disneyland hundreds of times. Again, I could just go on that all day, and it wouldn't get old. Something about the charm in this movie is so brilliant to me, and the fact that it's the first colored movie of all time, and not to mention the first hand-drawn movie, it's just amazing. This movie is so historically significant. Not to mention all the movies I just showed you guys, those wouldn't exist without this. So, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is really my favorite movie ever made, and it always will be. Nothing will ever replace it. So that's it for this video, guys. That's my top 10. I hope you will comment down below and let me know what you guys have on your top 10. I know a lot of you are going to be disappointed with this because, yes, The Lion King isn't on there, or other classics like Beauty and the Beast or Little Mermaid. They just didn't make it. Two close runner-ups, I will say. Two very close runner-ups here were Tarzan and Sleeping Beauty, but this is the top 10, so you have to narrow it down to 10. So anyway, that is my top 10. Please let me know what yours is, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you guys, if you don't like this movie, will go back and rewatch it, because it is my favorite film of all time. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.